Hey, welcome back to Livin MN Outdoors. I'm Daniel, and thanks for tuning in to this week's fishing report. Before we dive into the report, I just want to let you guys know we are doing a custom rod and reel giveaway over on our Facebook site. I will link that in the top of the description below. If you want to go over there, you can follow us and enter that giveaway, and we would really appreciate that. Also, if you use any of the resorts or guides mentioned in today's report, please let them know you saw them on Livin MN Outdoors. And with that being said, let's dive into this week's fishing report. All right, this week we're going to start on Mille Lacs Lake. Everybody's talking about the jumbo perch bite up there, and I just want to clear up a couple of things. I've been going up there. Yes, I've been catching some jumbo perch, but people are messaging me. They're saying I went out to the depths that you said. I set down my ice castle and we didn't do very well. Well, I'll tell you this right now. If you're planning to go up to Mille Lacs Lake with an ice castle and your plan is to plop your ice castle down in one spot and you're not going to do any scouting ahead of time or while you're up there, more than likely you're not going to catch very many fish. You got to put some time and effort into finding those schools before setting down your ice castle, or it could be a very slow weekend. But let's get into the actual report up there. Up on the north and the east side of the lake, there are kind of two different areas that you can find those perch right now. 22 to 25 foot of water off the edges of some of the rock piles. There are some really nice perch roaming around out there. Best ways to catch them: a 1/8 ounce tungsten spoon tipped with a minnow head, or a 5mm tungsten jig tipped with 2 or 3 red Euro larvae. Now, the second areas you can find them up on that north and east side, out on the edge of the mud in that 27 to 32 foot of water. They're roaming the edges of that mud, and just like in shallower, a small spoon or a small tungsten jig is working to catch those out there as well. Now, as far as the walleye bite goes, the walleye bite tends to be significantly shallower in that 8 to 16, 8 to 18 foot of water on rocks seems to be the best bite right now. You can catch them in other spots as well, but the best bet for catching those nicer walleyes is in that 8 to 16 or 8 to 18 foot of water on those rocks. Now, best ways to catch those: plain red hook with a golden shiner or a small sucker minnow is working well, and then a big glow spoon tipped with a minnow head is working as well, and you're primarily targeting those walleyes in the evening and after dark, or in the very early morning. Now, as far as ice goes, on the north and east side, there's 18 inches plus. There's no restrictions any longer. Really, I don't think there's much for restrictions anywhere on the lake anymore. Over on the west side, I know some of them shoreline rock structures, they've been doing pretty decent on those as well for the big walleyes. And they're starting to get out on some of those big perch as well on some of the west side mud. Now, down on the south side, I've been getting more and more reports that they're starting to get some good perch action down there as well. I would suspect that that's more out on like 4 or 5 mile Sloppy Joe. Some of those structures, that deeper 26 to 32 foot of water, although I do know they have been picking some off in Walk-On Bay and a few in Cove Bay as well. All right, now moving on to Lake Winnie. A lot of people thought with this cold weather moving in that it was going to slow the bite down, but it actually has done the exact opposite. The bite is starting to pick back up. As far as the bay bite goes, out of the Pines Resort, in the bay, the best waters for walleye right now is that 19 to 25 foot of water on the bottom edges of the humps or some of those deeper sand flats. The best bet to catch those is with a glow pink spoon tipped with a minnow head, or a plain red hook tipped with a fat head or a small sucker minnow. Now, as far as the perch bite goes in the bay, they're finding those in 16 to 18 foot of water. They're finding them on the deeper sand flats. Best ways to catch those is with a plain red hook in a fathead or a small jigging spoon tipped with some waxworms, euro larva, or a small minnow head. Now, there are still some of those perch showing up on those shallow weed lines at 8 to 10 foot of water. You really got to hunt to find them on those weed lines now because they do seem to have moved out deeper and roaming out on those sand flats. Now, as far as the panfish bite in the bay goes, they are catching bluegills in shallow 6 to 9 foot of water. There's some crappies moving in there as well. You got to look for those weed lines in that weed to sand mix. If you want more specifics on that, stop in at the Pines Resort and talk to Chad, and he can direct you in the right direction for those. Now, out on the main lake, just outside of the bay, the North Humps, they are producing some really nice walleyes. You really need to stay tight to the bottom edge of those humps. It's best if you can even get your house set up to where one side of it is going up the hump and the other side is down off of the bottom of the hump. Best depths, that 26 to 30 foot of water. Like I said before, a glow pink jigging spoon tipped with a minnow head or a plain red hook with a shiner, small sucker, or a fathead is working for those. Now, as far as the perch bite out on the main lake, over off of Mallard has been pretty decent. Get on one of those break lines. I believe it's like that 20 to 25 foot of water. They're finding the majority of those perch out there, and they do tend to be really nice out there. So if you want to get in on some perch action, do a little hunting around out by Mallard. Now, if you're looking for a place to stay up on Lake Winnie, the Pines Resort has cabins. They have day houses, spear houses, full bar and restaurant, live bait, fish cleaning shack. Anything you need, they got it. So if you're looking to get up to Lake Winnie this coming weekend or in the future, go ahead and call Chad from the Pines Resort. Now, if you are looking for a sleeper house out on Lake Winnie, Scott from zupsguideservice, he has 5 beautiful ice castles out on Lake Winnie. They are doing very well out of his houses. He does not have any availability left in January. He does have some midweek availability left in February, and I do believe he has 1 fish house left for Valentine's weekend. So if you want to take your husband or your wife on an awesome trip to catch some walleye and perch, go ahead and call Scott from zupsguideservice. All right, now moving over to Leech Lake. I talked to Kyle from Acorn Hill Resort. They have 20 plus inches of ice out of there, no restrictions. As far as the walleye bite goes, 14 to 18 foot of water over off of Greg's break line or on the flooded timber. Now, best ways to catch those walleyes, like usual, a plain red or pink hook tipped with a golden shiner, small sucker, or a bigger rainbow has been working. And then a smaller buckshot spoon, 1/8 or 1/4 ounce tungsten buckshot spoon, tip that with a minnow head, and you're more than likely going to pick off a few of those walleyes come evening or after dark, or that really early morning bite. Now, as far as the perch bite goes, they're still picking off some perch over in Tim's Hole, that 10 to 12 foot of water. Make sure you're on a weed line over there. There is a lot of sorting that you got to do when you go over in that area. And then kind of out on the mud, kind of over in the Greg's break line area, they're starting to pick off some nice perch in that 14 to 18 foot of water. Small plain hook with a fat head, or a small jigging spoon with some waxworms, or a small minnow head is working best for those. Now, as far as the tulipy bite goes, there are a ton of tulipies in Traders Bay right now. It doesn't really matter where you set up, you're more than likely going to catch them. Best ways to catch those is a small tungsten jig with a waxworm or some euro larva. There's a lot of little ones, but some really nice ones mixed in as well. Now, Acorn Hill Resort, they do have cabins available, sleeper houses, day houses, guided perch trips, full bar and restaurant, indoor swimming pool. So if you want to get the family up to Leech Lake for some amazing fun, go ahead and call Kyle from Acorn Hill Resort. I also want to mention the Loaded Loon Bar and Grill at Acorn Hill Resort. This Friday they will be doing a rib special, either a half rack or a full rack with your choice of sides. The food there is absolutely amazing, so make sure to stop in up at the bar on Friday evening for their awesome rib special. All right, well, that's going to do it for this week's fishing report. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. If you could, hit that like button, leave a comment down below, share the report out with your friends. It really helps us out. If you make it out fishing, take some pictures, send them to us on Facebook or to our Gmail. When you do make it out fishing, remember, don't crowd your neighbor, be respectful of other fishermen. Absolutely pick up all your trash that you bring out onto the ice, and don't forget to get on out there and get living.